So let's discuss the semester 1 syllabus for the new batch that is going to start from the year 2025. So first of all, for all semester 1 students, so for BA, BSc, BCom, you have this compulsory English paper or the AEC 1 paper, which is the ability enhancement course. You have 6 topics, 3 from the prose section and 3 from the poem section. You will be asked 25 questions, almost 3 or 4 questions from each topic, each carrying 2 marks. So 25 into 2, 50 marks compulsory English paper for every semester 1 student of Calcutta University. It doesn't matter if you are from BA, BSc or BCom, you will have this paper as your compulsory English paper. So 6 topics and 25 questions, each carrying 2 marks, makes you the total 50 marks. And you will get the notes of each of the topics from our group as well as in our channel. We have already provided all the notes of the 6 topics that you are going to have. You can just check our Telegram group and go back around the previous year in this time and you will find all the notes. So you can check from break. We have provided you the MCQs along with the answers in our group. You can check it based on the line by line analysis of the whole poem. It will be an MCQ paper, so you have to practice MCQs as much as you can. This is Break by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Then you have Afterwards by Thomas Hardy. Various questions including the literary devices used, the symbols used. We have provided you with everything. There are almost 95 questions from Afterwards by Thomas Hardy. Then you have Where the Mind is Without Fear by Rabindranath Tagore. Again, we have provided around 80 MCQs along with the answers. Just check in our group. From the prose section, we have The Child by Munshi Premchand. It's a short story and we have provided you with almost 50 MCQs with in-depth analysis. Then we have R K Narayan's Out of Business. Again, we have provided the 50 most probable MCQs from this section. Then we have Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream. Again, we have provided around 60 MCQs with in-depth analysis. You will get all this PDF and much more from our group. For the English Honours students of semester 1, you will have 2 papers, Dscc 1 and Acc 1. From Dscc 1 paper, the total marks of the paper will be 75 marks with 4 questions of 15 marks, 4 long questions and 3 short RTC type of questions where you will be given a quotation or you will be asked to describe certain scenes from the poems or certain phrases from the poems. So 3 questions of 5 marks and 15 into 4 equals to 60 plus 3 into 5, 15. This will be of about 75 marks. The rest 25 marks will be given on projects, on written projects of about 20 marks and 5 marks for Viva. So that equals to the 100. Like you can check the questions that has been given in the last year. Answer any one of the following question within 600 words. So any 15 marks question, You have to answer it in 600 words. That is your word limit. The first 15 marks long question is from the Introduction to English Literature, the poetry section. From this section you will have poetry from the Elizabethan age to modern age, where they have asked the Elizabethan sonnet sequence, the features of romantic poetry, and the themes of war poetry. And also you will have a short note of 200 words carrying 5 marks, like they have given in the last year. Write a short note on the metaphysical poetry, show your acquaintance with mock heroic poetry, and comment on the contribution of T.S. Eliot in modern poetry. So from the History of English Literature Poetry section, you have one long question of 15 marks and one short note of 5 marks. From the short note section, we have already given the notes in our group. The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. This is all for 5 marks. John Milton and his legacy. William Blake, his works. John Donne, Alexander Pope, William Wordsworth, Alfred Lord Tennyson, P.B. Shelley, Robert Browning, T.S. Eliot, and also about war poetry. This is for the 5 marks questions. For the long questions, we have discussed the influence of modern English literature with a focus on 2 major modern poets, where we have discussed the characteristics of modern poetry, and also with great significance on 2 major modern writers, William Butler Yeats, and we have also selected T.S. Eliot. T.S. Eliot's The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. So then we have one of the most important questions from this section, that is the History of English Poetry, that discuss the salient features of metaphysical poetry with reference to any 2 poets, where we have discussed the characteristics of metaphysical poetry, that is the abrupt beginning, complex conceits, philosophical exploration, use of paradox, colloquial diction, wit, and irony. Also, we have discussed on 2 major metaphysical poets like John Donne and Andrew Marvell. So it's a very important question. You will get the notes from our group. Then we have discussed the contribution of Pre-Raphaelite poetry in English literature, analyzing at least 2 poets. So we have discussed about the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood, a movement which started around 1848, and the key figures include Dante Gabriel Rossetti, and we have also discussed Christina Rossetti, his sister, so you can go through it. Then we have discussed about mock heroic poetry, that what is mock heroic poetry, what are its origins, the characteristics of mock heroic poetry. Okay, and also we have given notable examples like Alexander Pope's The Rape of the Lock and John Dryden's Macflecknoe, which falls under this category of mock heroic poetry. Then we have heroic poetry. Write a note on heroic poetry. What are the different characteristics of heroic poetry? It is also a very important question. And now from the second section, we will be asked around 3 15 marks question from these 5 poems. All the 5 poems will be given as options, and you have to write on any 3 among them, and you have to also write any 2 short question among these 5 poems as well. So the first one you have is Sonnet 73, William Shakespeare's Sonnet 73, where we have discussed the critical appreciation of Sonnet 73 or Sonnet 73 as a love sonnet, or discuss the theme of transience of love in Sonnet 73. So a long 15 marks question will come from this sonnet. Previously they have given the use of imagery in Shakespeare's sonnet number 73. So this time they can definitely give sonnet 73 as a love sonnet or the critical appreciation of sonnet 73. Next we have John Donne's The Sun Rising. Again from Sun Rising, the critical appreciation of sun rising. And also the sun rising as a metaphysical poem. It is also a very important question. Also the use of conceits by John Donne in this poem. Then we have John Keats To Autumn. We have the critical appreciation of Ode to Autumn, or how Ode to Autumn is described as the most perfect shorter poem in the English language by Harold Bloom. Previously they have given the critical appreciation of Ode to Autumn. So this time they can give Ode to Autumn, the imagery is in the Ode to Autumn, or Ode to Autumn as a romantic poem, or Ode to Autumn as an ode. Then we have Ted Hughes' The Crow's Fall and W.B. Yeats's The Second Coming. You don't need to read all the 5 poems very thoroughly. I mean, you don't need to prepare long questions from all the 5 poems. You need any 3 poems, that will be enough. So you don't need to go for Crow's Fall if you're already studying Sonnet 73, The Sun Rising and Ode to Autumn. So if you're already completing these 3 poems, then you don't need to read the other 2 poems. But still you can just, for safety, you can just go through The Crow's Fall by Ted Hughes as a modern poem, the structure and the themes of the poem. So that will be all from the long question section of the poetry section from the first paper. And from the short questions where you have to give 2 questions of 5 marks from these 5 poems, we have discussed the short questions from Sonnet 73, The Sun Rising by John Donne, and that will be enough, as you have to only read 2 poems thoroughly, because you will be given 5 questions and you have to write 2 questions of 5 marks. So in this poem, so from this section you will have around 55 marks to fetch from these 5 poems. You need to read 3 for the long questions and 2 for the short question. So 15 into 3, 45, and 5 marks 2 questions, so 55 marks from this poetry section. So 55 from this section and 20 from the history of English poetry, that will be 75 for Dscc 1 paper. So that's it. Do subscribe our channel and join our group for all the notes that we discussed and many more to come. Thank you. So from ACC paper we have 5 topics: the meeting minutes, the email writing, report writing, letter writing and CV writing, each carrying 20 marks each. So 20 into 5, a full 100. So it's a very important paper. If you know how to write these 5 topics, you will get very good marks, and if not, then your marks will drastically reduce. So now meeting minutes or notice writing is not the same as you have done in your class 10 or 12 examinations. It is much more broader and in-depth, as it carries 20 marks and we have to think about that it's an honors course. So you have to be very much precise and broad in your presentation, like we have shown in our notes, that it should be almost about 3 to 4 pages at least. So it will be very large, not like what you have done in your schools. So do check how to write a notice or a meeting minutes. Then we have the CV writing. Again, it has its own way of presentation, and again it is not very short. You have to make sure that you constantly use around 3 to 4 pages for each topics. Then we have email writing. Do check the complete format from the notes. Letter writing, mostly formal. Again in a very elaborative manner. Then the report writing. So that will be 100 marks, each carrying 20 marks, 5 questions on these 5 topics. So that's it. Do subscribe and join our group for all the notes that we have discussed and many more yet to come. Thank you.